Welcome, this is Carrie Schell from On Point Quilter. Last week I shared with you how to draft two different shadow heart blocks. This week I'll show you how to set them in a custom set quilt. I've opened the Shadow Hearts Charm Friendly Quilt project. View the project sketchbook and select the Blocks tab. As a reminder, here are the two blocks that were drafted during that last session. One of them was 6 inches and the double block was 9 inches. Close the project sketchbook and select Design a Quilt from Scratch. Select a new quilt and select the style Custom Set. On the Layout tab, change the width to 12 and the height to 27. On the Border tab, change the first border to 1/2 inch and change the second border to 1.5 inches. Select the Design tab and select Set Block. When working with Custom Set, we need to drag our blocks. So drag one of the single block and one of the double block on the quilt. Select the Adjust tool, and under Adjust Block, we can see the grid snap options. The first one shows the grid, the second snaps block's position to grid, and the third snaps block size to grid. We want to turn all three of those on. Then for grid snap increments, we want to make sure that we, in the drop-down, select 3 inches. I chose 3 inches because the size of each of our blocks is a multiple of 3 inches. With the Adjust tool, select the first block and move it close to the upper left corner. You'll find that when you release, it will snap into position. Then take the second block and move it immediately below the first block and select Copy, Paste, and move it below the previous block, except we're going to line it up with the right edge. Select Fabric Tools and select a color that will not be confused as being part of the quilt. Using the paintbrush, color the 3-inch square in the upper right corner for the first double block and the 3-inch square for the lower left corner of the second double block. This patch will not be needed, and I want to make sure to exclude it from fabric yardage and from cutting instructions. Select Block Tools, then with the Adjust tool, let's take the single block and copy-paste, drag it to position it so that the lower left corner covers the first blue square. Select Paste again and now position it so that the upper right corner covers the blue square. Select Fabric Tools. Let's recolor the block in the lower left corner with the grays. Use the eyedropper to find the light gray fabric, and with the spray can, select one of the light pink fabrics in the block in the lower left corner. With the eyedropper, click on the dark gray fabric, and with the spray can, select the dark red in that same block. Let's fill in the holes in the quilt. Under Block Tools, Set Block, click on the 3 dots and select Add Plain Block. Drag the plain block on the quilt and select it with the Adjust tool. Drag the block to the upper right corner. Click, hold, and drag one of the nodes at the bottom, and notice that as we release, it will resize using that grid snap increment of 3 inches. Double-click on the block to make sure that the X and Y axes are also snapping to one of those 3-inch increments. With the block still selected, select Copy Paste and drag it to the lower right corner and let it snap into position. Copy Paste and now position in the space on the right. Drag the node in the lower right corner so that the size approximates the size of the space. When you release, notice that it is now 3 by 6. Double-click on the block to make sure that we have a correct X and Y axes. Select Copy followed by Paste and move to the remaining space on the left. Select Fabric Tools, use the eyedropper to find the background fabric, and use Swap Color and select one of the new blocks. Select the paintbrush and with the controller command key, select the first border and select the dark pink and with the controller command key, color the second border. Select Hide Show Quilt Patch Lines. Select Add to Project Sketchbook. Once you've completed the wall hanging, you now have the skills to apply these concepts to any size quilt where you want to incorporate 2 different blocks. Thanks so much for watching. For additional tips and techniques, please subscribe to my weekly newsletter at onpointquilter.com.